Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. So if you have any questions as we go through this webinar, please type them into the questions box on your screen, and we'll be sure to get those answered by the end. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to Paul Craver, who is a senior safety consultant of training in safety at P3 Propane Safety.
Thank you, Emma. Good afternoon, everybody. Like Emma said, my name's Paul Craver. I am a senior consultant of training and safety for P3. A little bit about myself. I'm in my 25th year in the industry. Over that time, I've had just about every role imaginable, especially on the retail side, from delivery driver, service tech, district manager, region manager. About 10 years ago, I transitioned over to the safety department for a large marketer, and started out with 8 locations. And my last role with them was a division safety director. I had the responsibility of 1,600 locations and almost 20 safety professionals working for me. Today, I'm joined by my friend Mike Santiago from, he's the business development manager for South Jersey Fuel and Propane. Mike, you want to take a moment to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. Mike Santiago. Got about 20 years experience in propane in residential and transport. Graduated college with a history degree to be a teacher. While I was going to school, I was working at a refinery hooking up tractor trailers, offered a position and never looked back. So I can tell you all about World War II. Didn't make a single dollar on it. All my life I've been in propane.
Well, that's fantastic. That's something I didn't know about you, Mike.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So today we're talking about roadmaps to propane safety and compliance. If you think about all the rules and regulations and the different entities that got their hands in propane, you really do need a roadmap. And one of those tools that can help you, that you can utilize to create that roadmap is a compliance assessment. Now, I use the term compliance assessment, but in my past roles, I would call it an audit. But because that's really what it is. We're going to go in, one of me or one of my coworkers, one of the other consultants, we would go in and we're going to start taking a look at, aspects of your organization that you feel are important to open up the layers and kind of get underneath there and see how we're doing. The propane industry is highly regulated, and it can be, extremely difficult in your busy day to manage all the different rules, regulations, and the specific entities that require these things. So what is a compliance assessment? So like I said, it's really a customizable audit. One of the most common aspects of these assessments is we'll take a deep dive into the Department of Transportation rules and regulations and training. Things like take a look at your DOT qualification files, especially if you're managing those yourself. There are entities out there that can help, a company manage their DQ files. They're all excellent. But if you're choosing to do that on your own, having a third party come in and just make sure that you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's, and you're getting those files, organized in the manner required by the DOT would be important. You think about the DOT and training records. For example, the HAZMAT training, also known as HM126F. We'll take a look at that. Cylinder requalification training. It's not uncommon for me to come into a facility that's requalifying cylinders and find that the teammates that are performing those requalifications aren't properly trained, or they've gone over their 3-year window to have a recertification in that process. We look at things like DOT accident registers, your security plan, open it up, find out if it's accurate, has it been reviewed, does it even exist? Sometimes you'll find that companies don't have DOT security plans. Hazardous materials certificate of registrations, RIN letters, hours of service, post-trip inspections, meter creeps, and even the documentation that's required when transporting containers, ASB containers that are over 5%. So that's just a portion of what we look at as far as it relates to the DOT. But then, maybe you want us to come look at a bulk plant or two. We're going to maybe review your monthly bulk plant inspections, make sure that they've been being completed. We'll go out and perform some inspections, test the ESVs, take a look, make sure that you're meeting, security requirements, inspect hoses, containers, piping, all kinds of things like that. And then along with the bulk plant comes a lot of documents that you need, things like a fire safety analysis or an emergency action plan, an O&M manual, and again, that DOT security plan. We can look at, different aspects of your day-to-day job. For example, are the drivers performing leak checks properly? Are they performing them when they're required to be done? How about cathodic testing? Is that being done on a regular basis in the time frame required by NFPA 58? We'll take a deep dive into your cylinder requalification business, making sure that you're documenting everything properly, that you have the tools, the decals, the parts, the fittings, and of course that training that we talked about before. Another thing that we like to really kind of get into is some OSHA. We touch on a lot of OSHA stuff, verifying that your employees have been, have proper PPE and that they're trained to utilize it. That forklift operators are up to date on their training. Are the forklifts getting inspected as they're supposed to? Fire extinguishers, we take a look. Are they being inspected annually? Are they being inspected monthly? Do you have current fire extinguisher training? It's not uncommon for me to come across a deficiency while we're doing these, and we'll just like, hey, let's pause for a minute. Let's do the fire extinguisher training right now. We'll get you compliant for the next 12 months. Let's get your team of cylinder requalification people together. Did that in New York last summer. We just stopped what we were doing, went out, and we did the cylinder requalification training along with some skill assessments, making sure that everything's documented and that they're good to go. We'll look at monthly safety meetings. Are you holding them? If not, we can talk about that. I'm sure, P3, we can assist with things like that. Some other items that don't happen quite so often are like jurisdictional counts. We can review those documents, make sure you're actually performing, the document, the inspections, the quarterly patrols, and the annual inspections that also go along with jurisdictionals, making sure that you're in compliance with that. One of my personal favorites, we like to take a day, right along, maybe 2 days, right along with some drivers and techs, and see what's going on out in the real world. Get to know these folks, find out, throughout the course of a day, what kind of training do they need? What kind of holes can we fill? And then, when we're all done, we bring this stuff together, package it up, and we'll sit down and we'll talk about what your potential needs are. And then I'm not going to ditch you at that point. I'm going to kind of stick to you like glue for the most part, as much as you want me to make sure that you're getting the tools that you need, whether it's, for example, maybe you need the P3 mobile for your drivers and techs. Maybe you need a DOT security plan. Maybe you need an O&M. Maybe you need specific training. And we can put together a package to kind of, put you on the right path towards compliance. And just as you can imagine, there's tons of roads to go down. And it's good to get some piece of paper in your hands to say, all right, so Paul's been in here, or John or Brent, whoever from P3, we're going to give you a roadmap basically says, all right, if this were Paul's Propane, these are the things I would do. These are our priorities that we really should do, in the very near future, and how we could assist you with that process. So earlier this year, actually in January, because I remember it was cold, Mike asked me to come out to his facility in southern New Jersey down in Cape May Courthouse, I think it is. We went down there. We did 3 days. It was an awesome time. We got a lot of information from Mike. So quick question, Mike, what really prompted you to make the decision to have a compliance assessment?
Yeah, so my first introduction to P3 safety was actually with the previous company I worked with. We started extremely grassroots from, the very bottom, and, built this company up relatively quickly. We expanded, we grew our customer base, we were moving quite a bit of product. Obviously, with that, we started to draw the attention from state and what have you, and really we identified that we weren't very compliant as that pressure started to come in. So we brought in P3 Safety Paul. Everything he touched upon, he introduced us to. We started to utilize Paul and his company, and what we found was as we introduced these things and we started implementing them, the pressure and the weight started to alleviate. We were doing things the way they should be. Within the last year, I had another opportunity to join another company. Again, they've been in business for quite some time, but kind of didn't have the growth or my expertise in where we could drive the company and kind of push it up to another level. I quickly identified that although this company had been in business for quite some time, that we weren't really doing things the way they should be. So I immediately reached out to Paul. The response was immediate. We scheduled him to come down. Again, had great people that were working there, people who wanted to do things the right way. For lack of better words, just didn't really know what that was. It was extremely eye-opening for them. Paul came on site, met with everybody. He even did the drive around with their drivers, our service techs, and kind of laid out a blueprint for this company that we were able, myself, to communicate to our staff with saying, we're growing again, things are moving, we're taking on a lot of new customers, our word's spreading. However, to not fall in the same pits that I did prior, we kind of wanted to be ahead of it. And we were able to identify, numerous amount of things that had been done over the last 15, 20 years that were really eye-opening. Even our personnel, from the drivers, our delivery drivers, our service techs, they were kind of taken back, but just saying, hey, we really didn't know. This is how it was supposed to be done. This is what was expected to us. Our liability, not only as a company, but the person who's installing this propane tank, they were great guys, work hard. They believed they were doing everything safe, but from paperwork to delivering the tank, transporting the tank, we weren't really doing anything. So Paul came and kind of segued us and got us to where we are, to the point today we're implementing the things that Paul and his company have given us. And again, it's been night and day. It actually even increased our efficiency and our ability to kind of streamline paperwork, communicating from a tablet standpoint to tracking, inspection dates, what have you. It made my job a lot easier, where I can then focus on growing the business and the things that generate revenue and what have you. So that was my first introduction, and why with this new company, I immediately reached out to Paul to see if he would mind coming and helping me out. And the proof is in the pudding. Incidents are immediately down and cut in half. We're identifying issues before they occur. I don't want to seem like I'm, glorifying, but it's actually working. It's we're doing the things that we should have been doing from the beginning, and we're now hitting it twofold. We're just not driving sales. We're also doing it in a safe manner that complies us with everybody we should be.
Well, thank you for that, Mike. One of the best things about, this kind of relationship is I don't go away, and I'm going to be there to kind of walk that path with you as you need. The same with my coworkers. And when they go out and they do something like this, they're going to kind of stick with you as you need things. It's going to be a long-term relationship, which I look forward to. So with that, I think that pretty much kind of covers what I have to say. Did you have anything left to add, Mike?
No. Realistically, we hire good people. We have a good staff. I think one of the things I want to elaborate, and I think we've gotten a lot from, was even simply just driving around with the drivers. We gave them the heads up that, hey, even though we're loosely throwing around this term audit, it's it's a self-imposed. We want to bring Paul in. We want to identify, see what you're doing. You're not, in trouble or anything like that. We just go throughout your day. And the feedback that we got from our staff was very positive. I joked with Paul the other day that my phone has probably about 300 pictures now where these guys want to do things safe. They want to be professional. So they're now identifying issues out on the road. For me, a lot of times it's just names on paper. I look at the accounting side. To physically see where a tank has been placed, next to an air conditioning unit, a venting source, doing proper leak checks. When I got here, I say the guys were cowboys. We were all about moving propane as much as possible, as fast as possible, without ever really kind of considering, are we doing it the right way? Are we compliant? Are we protecting ourselves in the event that if something were to happen, do we have everything we need? And once we introduce this kind of line of thinking, we now can also say, hey, we are P3 supported safety. We want to do things safe. We advertise it to our customers, and realistically, it hasn't prevented us. I know sometimes when you're business focused, you think that safety kind of pulls you back, it harnesses you. That wasn't the case. We took it in a way where we're selling it to our customers. Our drivers, our personnel are very much bought in, and like I said, it was awesome. The guys are telling me things, and I'm getting feedback that I never was before. We're communicating interruption of services. We're communicating to customers. We're saying, hey, even though that we were doing this, last 10 years, this is why we should be doing it. And the feedback's been positive from customers, our personnel. I can't say it enough that I'm very beneficial, the decision and meeting Paul and bringing in P3 safety to our company.
Wow. Yeah, I bet you sleep a little better at night.
I wasn't sleeping at all once I was able to see how this company was operating. I can tell you that.
All right. Well, thank you, Mike. So Emma, did you get any questions for us today?
Yes. So the first one, how long would this process normally take?
All right. So, like we said in the beginning, this is customizable. Typically, it would take about 3 days. That's a day, spending time with the manager or the owner of the company, and we're going through all the files and documenting where we are with that. Getting out in the yard, doing bulk plant inspections. Generally speaking, the first 2 days are that. Or maybe the second day is a ride along or 2 ride alongs. But overall, about 3 days. My plan usually is to, by the time I'm leaving on that 3rd day, I hope to have that document in your hands where we sit down and we talk about, what we uncovered, and how we're going to work a plan towards fixing it. I do like to leave a few hours in there to do any, ad hoc training that might be needed as well, but typically 3 days. It can be longer though. I've had one where it took 2 weeks because the gentleman who owned the company wanted me to ride with all of his drivers, spend a day with everybody. So there was like 5 drivers. So again, completely customizable as to how deep you want to go.
Awesome. And we just had another question come in. Do you send a checklist of paperwork you're looking for to prepare for a meeting?
I do. I will send a checklist ahead of time. It's basically, I like to do it a couple of weeks before so that you're able to obtain it. And, one of the things I'll say in there, if you don't have it, that's okay. That's why you're calling me, right? That's why we're coming out, so we can identify things that you may be missing. Or sometimes you have it and you didn't know it, historically, like we'll say a fire safety analysis. In all likelihood, you've got it. You just don't know where it is. And sometimes we can find those when we're on site.
Awesome. And it looks like the last one, who should I contact if I want a compliance assessment?
All right, so if you're already a P3, you know, a company that works with P3, I would reach out to your sales consultant or to your safety consultant directly, and we can go ahead and get the process started. It usually involves, you know, a call or two ahead of time to kind of make a plan and get some dates nailed down, and we can go from there. And over and above that, I know that we do have some dates available in the spring and summer at this point in time. Don't know how long we will, but we do have some times available, all three of us. So yeah, just please reach out to me or your sales consultant.
Awesome. And that was the last question we had, so that should wrap everything up for today.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you, Mike.
Well,
thanks everybody who joined today.
thank you guys. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Mike. And I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their day.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.